Welcome to this next careers interview. And today we're being joined by Ravi Toor, who is the founder and owner of a company called Filamentiv. So thank you, Ravi, for joining us today and taking the time out to talk to us about your career and what you're doing with Filamentiv. So first of all then, tell us a little bit about yourself. So what industry and sector do you work in? And tell us a little bit about Filamentiv.
Thanks, Sonia. Yeah, it's a pleasure to do this. So as you said, my name is Ravi Toor. I'm currently the managing director, so owner of a business called Filamentiv, and we specialize in the 3D printing filament. So basically the plastic ink that goes into your 3D printer.
Before you obviously started your own company, tell us a little bit about your education, what subject areas you were interested in and you studied for, and how you ended up where you are now.
Yeah, I was interested in a wide range of things, actually. I did quite mixed A levels, so it was biology, geography, and business. So quite a broad mix there. And even at the age of 16, 17, 18, A level age, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I happened to come across a course at the University of Leeds called Environment and Business, which appealed to me because I was interested in the environment and the difference that we can make to the planet and make it a better place. But I've always been interested in business as well. I've, started businesses in my teens whilst I was young, not necessarily making the money, but I really enjoyed being able to do business. And even now in this day and age with online resources and everything that's out there, I think the world is your oyster and there are a lot of possibilities. So I did go for that course in the end in 2013. And I was able to learn about the environment, the planet, but also what companies are doing to make a difference, how we can reduce carbon emissions and how we can make the world a better place. And it was a really fun and exciting 3 years to learn about that.
And so from that university course then, what sort of prompted you to sort of found and set up Filamentiv?
Yeah, so I guess it was on one hand, learning about the impact that, plastic can have and, what can be done to make less impact on the planet. But at the same time, I had an interest in 3D printing.
Mm-hmm.
So from about 2013 is when I saw 3D printers a lot more, and obviously now, thankfully, they're more popular and they're in wider use. But back then, 9 years ago almost now, I just started seeing a few 3D printers, and I bought one. I was working part-time at the time and student finance, and I was able to buy a printer, and they were a bit more expensive than they are now. And because of what I was studying, I kind of thought, well, this is all well and good, but if the plastic is coming from a certain place and it's maybe made from an oil-based material, not a plant-based material. And as some of you will know listening to this, PLA, which is used in 3D printing, is made from plants. It's plant-based, not oil-based, so it's better for the planet. And at the time, I wanted to build a brand around that and I wanted to start a business. And I was fortunate that the university, I went to University of Leeds, were very proactive and very supportive to students. I wanted to start a business. So I had that kind of subject experience from the education and I had that kind of interest in 3D printing and I wanted to bring it together and see how far I could get.
Okay, that's great. And so you founded Filamentiv. And what's the difference between Filamentiv and other 3D printing materials?
So there's lots of 3D printing materials, lots of brand and suppliers of 3D printing filament. But I think the difference with Filamentiv is that we have sustainability at the center of what we do. And when I say sustainability, I mean, what is the most beneficial thing we can do or offer to 3D printing users that's beneficial for the planet? Is that plant-based plastics? Is that using recycled plastics, which is a priority for us? Is it even using recyclable materials and packaging? So all that plastic that gets left at the end, could we do something with that? Could we recycle it so it doesn't go to waste? And it's that waste that then creates problems with our environment. So everything we do at Filamentiv is environment first. What can we do that lets people 3D print and print prototypes and models and wonderful products, but that doesn't leave a bad impact on our planet?
So what were your sort of highlights and memorable experiences really for your career so far? I mean, it's early days for you, you're still very young, but I'm sure you've got some great highlights of things that you feel like you've achieved or that have made you feel good about what you've been doing in your career. So could you share a couple of those with us, please?
Yeah, of course. So it's been a few years since I was able to start Filamentiv now, about 6 years since I graduated and started the business. So that in itself, I was really proud of being able to do because it is difficult. You say you run your own business, but there's a lot of challenges and hurdles you have to overcome. So I think creating the product and the materials and working with the right partners was very key at the early stage. And then being able to build relationships with Create Education and 3D GBRE, who are also supplying, Ultimakers and 3D printers into industry. I think that was great for us to be able to achieve because it meant our materials are being used by a wider audience than, not just users in the home, but people in schools, colleges, and universities. And I think beyond that, Sonia, I think the other thing is being able to see what people achieve with our materials. One of my favorite applications, and I always answer this when asked, is Open Bionics, who are 3D printing bionic hands for children mainly that have limb problems or were born as amputees. So they have to use a bionic arm, so an arm that's created with the electronics to enable someone to live a normal life. And 3D printing has fundamentally made that more cost effective and sustainable. So to be able to say that a company like Open Bionics is helping to improve lives and filamented materials are used within that product, it's a really proud feeling.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, really. So what are your aspirations and plans for the future?
I think we just want to keep growing and developing what we do and reaching more people with our material. And that will, of course, have good implications for the business being able to grow it. But I think we also want to make a difference with plastic. How much plastic can we recycle? We want to be able to increase that. And we also want to do more in terms of being able to create a circular economy. And when I say circular economy, I mean being able to limit the plastic that goes to landfill and causes all the pollution. What can we do using 3D printing to make better impacts and more positive experiences? So it's all about spreading the message and the word about Filamentiv, but that will also involve recycling more plastic and making a more positive impact on the planet as well.
Okay, and obviously we've already talked about the benefits of 3D printing and how that uniquely fits within your organisation and your role, because without 3D printing technology, there would be no filament.
No.
So let's just have a look at the future, really. How do you think advancements in this technology will sort of benefit sort of the industry and the environment moving forward?
I think lots is happening already with 3D printing and the technology advancements. And I think as the hardware improves, so will the amount of material and different types of material that's able to be used. So at the minute, everything is plastic based, but we're already seeing, using different types of materials. So like bio-based materials, even seashells and other types of waste that are, weird and wonderful stuff that can be used. One item that might be someone's trash is, someone else's treasure. So, are we looking beyond plastic and into food printing and into other types of items and natural materials that we can use in 3D printing? And I think going back to a previous point is what advancements can we see to, recycle plastic in the same environment? So in the classroom or in the factory, can those 3D prints that we didn't need, after a certain amount of time, can we recycle those and can those be reprinted? And is that one printer? Is that a machine? Is that a recycling system? So I'd be really keen to see how the technology advances around recycling and 3D printing as a singular solution.
I think it's going to be exciting times to come, and I'm sure that will happen. I think already some developments are happening in that space. So I'm really looking forward to the next few years and seeing what that brings. Okay, so So how do you think the students themselves can best prepare themselves for these future jobs in this sort of field within either recyclable technologies or within additive manufacturing or materials development? So what can the students that are listening to this do best to prepare themselves for those future opportunities?
Getting stuck in with the technology, really, I think, is the main thing. Really immersing yourself in what that technology can do, and learning more, and being inquisitive and asking the right questions of your teachers and those around you, and even your parents if you end up wanting your own 3D printer. So it's all about learning and being involved with the technology. And I think going beyond that in terms of what I've done, so not everyone will run a business, but you will still need the same sort of skill set. So communication, problem solving, dealing with people, these are very fundamental things you need, whether starting a business or going into a job. So I think it's very much a case of taking advantage of all your opportunities. So if there's any work experience you can do as you go through the school process, if you're already into technology or into the environment, is there anywhere you can volunteer or offer more advice? And most people in the world are willing to help you. So if you are interested in something, there'll always be someone to ask. And I think even now with online resources and YouTube, there's a really good opportunity to learn without having to pay for these opportunities. So I think there's lots out there for the young generation and the next generation coming through.
Okay, that is fantastic advice for all the students there to round up with. So thank you for your time, Ravi. It's been really interesting in hearing about what you've done with Filamentiv and how you've got into this, and that whole sort of piece around environment and sustainability. It's a massive thing. We've all got to do our bit to try and save the planet, and actually, things like, businesses like yourself are really sort of pushing those boundaries. And, I would encourage all students to think about your future careers and how what you choose can help to lessen the impact that we currently have on the environment, and what you could do to improve that. And it's brilliant seeing that there's sort of young and new companies that are not just established, but are thriving from doing this as well, because like you said, there's opportunities out there. So thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely to hear from you, Ravi, and I know myself, I'm really looking forward to seeing what sort of exciting developments will come out of Filamentiv in the next few years. So thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Sonia. Thanks again.